business and ignore the largest part that has an influence hour by hour on our everyday lives, which is government, would be missing the point. So when we are seized with the issues of factionalism, of patronage, and therefore corruption on the one hand, and you say, but we can't sleep because of these stubbornly high levels of unemployment, which then lead to increasing levels of poverty and inequality. You have to go back and say, then how do we define an ethical role for business, but also an ethical role for government? Because in most entities, government is a sole shareholder. If one defines strategy as how to win, therefore cooperative governance surely is how we are governed, we are organized, how we accomplish things. But most importantly, it's about the separation of power between ownership and control. That is at the heart of what besets us today. The second piece is when you read not only the Companies Act of 2008, but tracing it back from the Cadbury's report and looking at King for today, one silver thread that goes through is this definition of our fiduciary responsibility. Simply put, is to act in the best interest of the entity, comma, and not in the best interest of the shareholder, nor the interest of the employees. But a lot of us stop at the comma and we put a period. How many times have I heard executives saying, I sit on the Santam board representing the 60% stake of Sanlam? Whereas ethical business behavior is to look after the totality of Santam. If you do that well, of course, ipso facto, you are looking after the 60% interest of Sanlam. But we throw this glibly without going back to our duties of faith, care, skill, and diligence. Today, we read a scandal after scandal, mostly around just two entities, SABC and SAA. The central root cause is one man, and one man only. And this is not just by accident. So when you accept that we have kind of accepted as South Africans that we are now a 3% GDP economy, and yet we allow 1% of that to be wiped off through lack of sustainable provision of electricity, something that can easily be cured. So nameplate 43 gigawatts. The highest it's ever been is 80% availability. We teed that at 60%, and then we created the war room. Today, we're lucky if we do 73%. Then the concomitant question becomes, if we are wiping off 1%, in 10 years, we've only grown 3.5. The NDP says we need to be growing at 5.4 to be able to absorb the 150,000 young graduates that get onto the job market, often with inappropriate skills. You then say, what should be the collective response of business? And again, to use one state enterprise as an example, you see that most of them have the same problem. One, they've never been adequately capitalized. So this is not rocket science. Secondly, a lot of them don't even do basic planned and preventative maintenance. So if you drive your own car without taking it to its regular service, but you run it day and night, you know you're having the life of that car. Therefore, the consequence you have to live with, at least fully mitigate. Then the last one is the notion that, yes, we also have to be focusing on governance. For me, ethical governance is, if you are the shareholder, can you have it within yourself to appoint a board you trust and step out of the way? To leave the board to then appoint the CEO that is apt to the shareholders' compact. But today we have a presidential review commission whose job it is not only to appoint the board and the CEO, but they want to appoint the CFOs of these state-owned enterprises. So when you look the CFO in the eye and say you're not delivering on the shareholders compact, and you are the board, and they say, but the CFO you gave me is useless, what would be your strategic response? Because you have muddled these ethical dilemmas in terms of what is easily defined as role definition and clarity.